Hello, people. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and this is the lifeboat. Let's see if we can't get chat enabled. Chat. Connecting. Hello, people. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and this is the lifeboat. People, I wanted to.
Hello, people.
Oh,
I am
look at
Captain
that.
Tommy Scoville.
You know how often I hear that? I gotta hear myself talk more than any guy alive. You should almost feel sorry for me. It is one of those things that I have to put up with more than the next person. But people, it has been a long day. Seventh Son, 5x5. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin, my brother, you are one of the most faithful people anywhere in all of cyberspace, man. You mean the world to me. I hope you know that. I mean that, Kevin. You're really a tremendous guy. I am so lucky you are here. I probably haven't said that enough, but love you, brother. Flaming Jackson, good to see you. Good to see you. Do appreciate you setting up another forum for everybody to go and check out. I think that's going to be a great venue. If somebody wants to pop in, I'll tell everybody about that as well. But if people just want to pop in and have a place to talk, if you're feeling like you need to you need a little support, and we're not doing a live feed, there's another avenue to go and sort of hang out, almost like a chat room, which I think is just awesome. People, this is not going to be a marathon live feed. To be really, really honest with you folks, in the last 2 days, I have worked 24 hours, but I don't think I have slept 5. It's been a tough couple of days in terms of sleep, so I'm going to be calling this one pretty early. But there was no chance that I could go to bed without coming here first, because there is something, people, that just needs to be done that I would not feel good if I didn't do. But I want to make sure a couple more people get here before then. Folks, I also want to make an announcement. It's time for Captain Tommy to sound like a captain, and probably a bit of a Ebenezer Scrooge all rolled into one. People, on any of the forums, we can't have things like GoFundMe pages or people that ask for help financially, anything like that. I know that people will say, well, Jerry was helped. Somebody reached out to Jerry. Jerry never asked for $1. Somebody reached out to Jerry and said, hey, you said you're, some things are going on. That person reached out to him and decided to do that. That's fantastic. But the man never came and asked for anything, and we can't have that. And I hope everybody understands why. This is a very, very loving group of people on this boat, and we will end up a target in seconds. There are so many unscrupulous people out there, and there are so many good people who are in the life. I promise you, people, that when I was in the life, I would have targeted something like this. I'm just being honest. This is something I would have done because I was that depraved. This would have seemed like a great venue. So the only way to protect us is to say that across the board, it just can't happen. And I know that sounds awful. It doesn't matter how great the cause is. There are untold stories of people who came on shows with GoFundMe pages only to have Saigon Cinema, don't you go anywhere. Only to to find out that the GoFundMe page or the cause was not legit. We're not going to have that, people. So I hate to be Ebenezer Scrooge, but the only way to make sure that everyone is protected is to just do it across the board. I'm sorry. And there are so many legitimate causes out there. But what I will say is this. You can always go find them. You can. It's just not going to be something we can do here. And I really hope that makes sense to everybody. My first responsibility is to this crew. And I'm not bringing this up because of anybody that has been dishonest or anything like that. I'm just looking at inevitabilities down the road. I should have thought about it ahead of time because it's something that came up at Chase the Heat. I was in the process of setting up just a very, very good cause when my brother Johnny said, no, we can't do this. If you start doing the math, Johnny at that point had 100,000 subscribers. You get 100,000 subscribers if 1% has a cause that they care about. Do you have any idea how many GoFundMe things that you'd have to be doing, and you just don't know whether or not it's a good thing to do or not. It's just something, people, that we're not going to do. So hopefully everybody can appreciate that. And Vegemite Slayer. Vegemite jokes. People, I told you that I haven't slept, and you're already starting in with the Vegemite. And for those of you who are just getting on the live feed right now, I was saying earlier when I just popped on that in the last 2 days I've worked 24 hours, and I don't think I have slept 4 of them. So, and that 24 hours was just at at my real job, my job that pays the bills. This is my real job. But I've also put in some time on the channel, and I just am going to have to get a little bit of sleep, unfortunately. So we're going to keep this one short, but there's no way I was going to be able to go to bed and feel good about myself if I did not say this. This goes to Mr. Saigon Cinnamon, and an absolutely beautiful letter that I have already gotten emails from people. I've already gotten text messages from people. Saigon, I imagine that it just had to be really beautiful to read the comment section after that letter went up. I would imagine that that had to be just a great feeling. And you know what? You earned it. Not just for the letter, but for the life that you are living right now. You're leading a life that is it's an example to so many people and an inspiration to people. There are folks that you've never met who are going to be touched by the letter that you wrote. I'm so glad that I didn't let you mess with it. You know, that usually the best thing is when someone just shoots from the hip and puts it down there. You know, we don't want 3 and 4 drafts. And I mean, if that's how you do it, great. But I love the fact that both you and Andrew seem to take the assignment and go, bah, and be done with it. Because that, you know, to me, that's, I mean, when I did mine, it was the same way. It was long, because I'm long-winded. But I sat down and wrote mine, and just, I mean, so fast that I should almost hold it up and let you people see the writing, because it's scrawl at best. I mean, I was just viciously writing. I was super angry at my drug of choice, and had definitely written it in that's, you know, sort of that vein. But Saigon Cinnamon, also known as George Workman, let me tell you how much I love this man. I have never acknowledged the name of anybody if I renamed them. And I know it sounds arrogant when I say I renamed somebody, but it was something that happened often over at Chase the Heat, and the story behind renaming Saigon Cinnamon was pretty funny. He was actually being very, very funny in the comments section, and he had said that this was going to be his new name. I think he called it, he could probably tell you. I don't remember whether he called it his disco name or his, I can't remember exactly, but it was his new, you know, like flashy new name. And I said, hey man, be careful what you wish for. I will rename you Saigon Cinnamon. And everybody laughed, and then I thought, wait a second, why am I not renaming him Saigon Cinnamon? So many people on that channel got renamed, but once they did, that was it. I never acknowledged anyone else's name. Saigon is one of the only people who has absolutely earned that right, Mr. George Workman, aka Saigon Cinnamon, the man who not only brought you a beautiful hello goodbye letter, which again is already touching people's lives, but people, never quit quitting. You know, it's on the if you go to the to the channel, what does it say? It's right there. I mean, it really is the slogan of the lifeboat. It's the first T-shirt, but the slogan of the boat, brought to you by Mr. Saigon Cinnamon. You're a beast. So proud of you, my friend. This is for you. Now, this one, however, this goes to every single person on this boat. People, last night, insomnia kills you. It's just, even if life is great, insomnia is unpleasant. And, if you're concentrating on the best things in life, it's still just tough to lay there and not be able to get to sleep. But last night when the metrics came in, the only ones I really checked, there are very few that I care about. One, however, obviously is view hours. And when I went and looked, I thought it was a mistake at first. People, if you know for those of you who really know my past, and I'm talking about since getting out of prison, I definitely was pretty big in the pepper community, right? I'm a Scoville, and I've done some pretty rowdy things in terms of drinking tincture, and that 43-second tube of terror was a pretty big deal. But because of that, when the channel got rolling, when my brother Johnny came down, if you've never seen the videos with me and Johnny, the one where we did the Systroming fish is really, really funny. You probably ought to look at it. But I also did an interview with Johnny, and it was the first video to get over 1,000 views on the page. Johnny is super famous in the pepper community. In fact, I don't think anyone is more famous in the pepper community. He's sort of like the Babe Ruth of the of the pepper community. But that being said, when he came here, the views were just ridiculous. Everybody from his channel came over and they wanted to see the interview with him, and we just got a lot of views, and we got a lot of hours because those interviews were long. However, last night we did more view hours without, the King of Pepper filming with me. So I had a smile on my face from ear to ear. The inner circle was just, it's a pretty small circle that gets bothered by me at that time of night. But those people had to endure the fact that, I had to I had to tell a couple of people in the middle of the night. I'm so proud of everybody that is just stepping up to the plate. The ownership, this isn't my boat. It's, if you haven't figured that out, the longer you're here, the more you're going to really get a handle on that. Pepper Jojo just asked me about the poor duck. People, and if you never saw the Systroming video, we I tossed a little bit of this Systroming in, and that where I live, there's this beautiful, beautiful area, this scenic like walking path, 18 miles of it, but there are these beautiful ponds, and around here, like when the ducks cross the street, traffic stops, and they're everywhere. We're very, very proud of our ducks here. They sort of run the entire neighborhood. But people feed them all day long. So if you go like this, they come swimming over because they know you're getting ready to feed them. And we threw some Systroming in, and the duck was, cruising over, getting ready to eat. And when that Systroming hit the water, it stopped and looked at us like, just disgusted. The look on the duck's face. It turned around and just made very, very fast tracks in the opposite direction. So Pepper Dojo was wondering how that duck is doing. I'll be honest with you, I'd be shocked if the duck is still alive. I'm not trying to bum you out, but Systroming is, what it did to me, I can't imagine that, anything that was in that water is still, alive. The piece of Systroming we threw in was about this big, which I would imagine is probably enough to poison, not the ocean or anything ridiculous like that, but probably Lake Michigan, you know what I mean? Superior, one of those. This is some really, really foul stuff, people. If you've never seen the Systroming video, or any Systroming videos, because we're not unique in doing this. There are so many YouTubers that have done the Systroming challenge. People, I'm an old man, and I've traveled a pretty decent amount in my life. And I have considered myself fairly courageous in terms of, culinary fortitude, and having guts and trying just about anything. But I can promise you, with no exaggeration of the truth at all, there is nothing on this planet that tastes more foul than Systroming. It's like ammonia, you know what I mean? And the texture, there's really no way to describe just how awful this is. It is the worst tasting thing ever. It's really, really bad. But, old man, well, thank you, Fee, but I know you're going to be shocked to hear this, but I am no longer in my 30s. I get it all the time. People do think that, that I'm 30-something, but I'm not. I've actually moved out of the 30s. What's funny, too, people? I thought I would tell you one quick story about work, too, because today I saw somebody at work who I work fairly closely with, but I haven't seen him since I started back. He wasn't on Tuesday when I got there, so he came in and he came up and said, "Tommy, how you doing?" I said, "Good." He goes, "Boy, you look like you lost a lot of weight." And I did lose a little bit of weight during the whole C plus math. And I said, I definitely have lost a little bit of weight. I said, you could tell. He goes, yeah, through the face, you really look thinner. And I said, well, I'm sure that, I'll put it back on quickly. I said, but I don't think you have any idea just how bad that illness is. I said, in the beginning, I thought, man, this is nothing. I said, but there were, a couple of days there that were just absolutely awful. I said, if you could have seen me, he goes, I did see you. He said everybody here every day when we put on the videos to see. He's like, you did update day 1, update day 2. He's like, everybody here watched those. And it's funny, people. I tend to think of you all as the family. I don't think of people, outside those that, like people from the real world, like the ones that I interact with, at my job. I don't think in terms of them, stopping by the channel. But I guess, when I was getting a lot of views then, a lot of them were coming from right at the factory I work at, which I find really, really funny. That one kind of cracked me up. So, as I said, people, this is not going to be one of the longer live feeds. So, do visit with one another quickly, because I'm probably going to cap this at about a half an hour. That will give me, hopefully, enough time to try to get some sleep. It just really has been... it's amazing after working a 12-hour day that you can't go to sleep, but that's kind of the rub with the whole insomnia thing, and I've suffered with it for really a lot of my life. I think I make no excuses for anything. You understand that, people? When I talk about my past, I own it. I was a heroin addict because I liked doing heroin and continued to do it until I couldn't stop. Boom, that's it. That being said, there is a component, right? If you've never done opiates, there is something they refer to as the nod. Every drug has its sort of unique properties about the high, and with heroin, you get the nod. And it really is exactly what it sounds like. You ever watch somebody that just, like in the middle of a conversation, just sort of nods out and isn't talking to you anymore? Well, on heroin, that's really what addicts are looking for, is when you get, the buzz gets to the point where you're literally falling in and out of consciousness. And I don't mean like OD consciousness. I mean, your breathing and life is good, but one second you're talking and the next second you just sort of fade to sleep and then pop back up. And it's probably not the most restful of sleeps, but it is, it was something that I consistently got. It was something that sort of took the place of normal sleep for so much of my life. I did this for decades. And once that was gone, I really started to struggle again with the sleep thing. Now, before it's all doom and gloom, there are times where I'll get on a good tear and I'll sleep really well for a month or two, or sometimes even longer, but it always comes back. It always gets back to, to the insomnia thing. It's not so bad in summer months because you can just pop outside and walk around or do whatever. This time of year it's getting cold in northern Nevada, and it's, there's not a real opportunity to just go walking about. Tommy, the only thing I miss about drugs is the sleep. That, again, this is coming from someone who shared my drug of choice. The sleep that you get with opiates is really unique. People, the name morphine, right? The morphine molecule is everything in the opiate family, in one way or another, is either a direct derivative of the morphine molecule, or it is a synthetic, right, version, but it's all based on the morphine molecule. And the name morphine, right, comes from the god of sleep, Morpheus. So it really, there is a component to opiates and heroin and morphine of restful sleep. It really is. Again, whether or not it's the kind of sleep that is good for you, I would be willing to bet that it's not. But you certainly, if you're someone that doesn't sleep well, it has that appeal. Greg F says, I never sleep well anymore. You know something, people? This is something we all, I think, struggle with. Even if you're, if your drug of choice was something other than what mine was. I don't think too many people who quit, their a long time addiction ever really sort of get back into the perfect rhythm. That being said, I'm only 6 years in. I'm hoping that by year 10, that something life-changing happens, and I'm able to, start sleeping better. As as beautiful each of our age. Oh my goodness. Um, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Welcome back to my ASMR channel. My name is Fiona Crispin. Fiona, we are so happy that you are here, and that you could make it. People, you probably saw that I had everybody trying to do a prayer. I try to listen to rain on a tent black screen YouTube vids to help. I go through a lot of those, but just briefly, Fiona, we were praying for you with the migraines, so it's good to see you here, because I really thought you might be completely laid up, and that would have broke my heart. So I'm glad that you're here. You make a really good point, Greg. I have had some success with this in the past. At one point I had a one of those. I think it's made by Sharper Image, and it has like 30 different sounds in it. Somebody had given me that. I don't exactly know what happened to it. It probably went with an X or something about once women hate me, they usually keep a few of those things. But I used to be able to set it. One was white noise, one was rain. I used to do really well with the believe it or not, harbor sounds, like the cables banging against metal masts. When I was really younger, and I moved to Texas, we had a sailboat, and my brother Johnny and I spent a lot of time sleeping on that sailboat. Like, it wasn't a day sail or anything. It had a shower and a bedroom, a couple of bedrooms. It was a real sailboat, like a good sized sailboat. And I never got better sleep than when I used to sleep on that. The noises from the marina were always just amazing. The waves sort of lapping against the side of the boat, and like I said, the metal lanyards would smack up against the metal mast, and you hear tink tink tink. Oh, that used to knock me out. Maybe I need to try doing that tonight. Getting on. You say YouTube's got a collection of those sounds, and I'm sure I could probably Google them too. I haven't done that in a while. Maybe that's something. I appreciate you. I'm gonna give that a try. And Saigon Cinnamon says, "Fi, don't tell Tommy, but he told me that you eat too much Vegemite. That is the cause of the migraines. It wasn't something that I wanted to put on blast, and I had intended to talk to her privately if I was going to have that conversation. But first of all, any amount of Vegemite is too much Vegemite. But Fiona seems to really enjoy the stuff, which is just, it's like somebody saying they enjoy sustroming. You know what I mean? That there's certain cuisine that I'm fairly confident is completely based on a dare, and I definitely believe that it happens to be, Vegemite is based on a dare. Or, there was a time in Australia, probably prior to young lady Crispin's birth, where they didn't have food and they had to use, raw sewage and sand, and then put together this spread in order to survive. And then somehow they got nostalgic over it or whatever, and it has stuck around. But in the modern age, there's no reason to eat anything that disgusting. I mean, there is real food out there. There's no reason to hark back to that. But that's just one person's correct opinion. You know what I mean? Everybody's allowed their own opinion, especially when it comes to things like taste. And no matter how wrong that opinion is, you are entitled to that opinion. And that's all I have to say about that. People, if you were not on in the very beginning, I had to play Scrooge real briefly and say that we're not going to be doing any kind of asking for GoFundMe stuff, for charities, or for anything having to do with money. The only way to make sure that you can vet every single... so far, no one unscrupulous has ever asked for anything here. But those days would be coming, and the only way to vet every single one of them is to not vet any of them and just not allow it, because there's no way it would become a full-time job trying to make sure that the people asking, so it's one of those things that quite simply cannot be allowed. I also want to thank those writing the goodbye letters. I received many more of them, which means this is going to be an ongoing thing. People, if you pop on and get a look at the number of views that the first video got, it's absolutely insane. And I would imagine that it's going to be, some of the most popular stuff that we have here are going to be stuff like the goodbye letter, and also most assuredly anything that we do to help celebrate recovery. Anything we can do to help celebrate recovery is probably, in the it's going to be what takes off the most. In terms of favorite Halloween movie, Ghost Story, and you're probably not familiar with it at all, but it's a very old film. It was shot in the 80s, but it was shot in my hometown in Vermont, so I was able to watch them film it growing up, and it's not particularly terrifying if you want to go for, but it's just one that from a nostalgic standpoint, I absolutely love it. Ghost Story. But if you want best Halloween movie that was frightening, I mean, like a movie that scares me right around that time, you would have to go with, are you ready? In the Mouth of Madness. If you have not seen a movie called In the Mouth of Madness, it is such a disturbing film. I mean, if you like horror, it's excellent horror. I'm not a huge horror guy, but In the Mouth of Madness is one of those films that is disturbing, and in all of the best ways. Like, if you like being scared, and the plot is just, I can't say enough frightening things about In the Mouth of Madness. I'll as a testimonial, I told one of my nieces, she said to me, I'm wanting to see a scary movie, can you recommend one? And I thought, Hellraiser. She was about 16 at the time, so I didn't, I'm thinking of like something closer to her generation. I wasn't going to say Exorcist or one of the older ones from my generation, but at the last second it popped into my head, so I was like, In the Mouth of Madness, right? Give that one a try. And so later that evening, she went and rented it, and that was in the days where you still rented things. So later that evening is when she calls me on the phone and says, what is wrong with you, Uncle Tommy? Her reaction to the film was literally, what is wrong with you? Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas movie. If we're doing Christmas movies, I have to think. I do believe that is a Christmas film. I'm going to go with that. Nightmare Before Christmas, I think by definition, is probably a Christmas film. In fact, I think anything with the word Christmas in it is probably a Christmas film. I'm not picking on anybody, but come on now. It says Christmas in the title. I'm just saying. People, it is, we've hit the 30-minute mark. And folks, the Great Pumpkin freaks me out. You know how long I've been waiting on the Great Pumpkin? I'm not convinced there's a Great Pumpkin. I think that Linus may have snowed all of us, because I've been waiting 5 decades and have yet to see the Great Pumpkin. Kind of bummed out about that. So, people, I would like to thank everybody for the videos. I would like to thank everybody who is going and watching all of the videos on this channel. Those who are really trying to push us to this partnership by the first of the year. by the first of the month. Do you remember not even a week and a half ago when I was telling you, I think we'll get there by Halloween? And real honestly, no joke, it started out, we wanted to get there by January 1. We've done this by holiday. It started out January 1, and then I thought, well, forget Christmas. We're going to go Thanksgiving. Like, I was setting the bar higher and higher, and it went from that. Conjuring's a good film. And it went from there to Halloween, and now the holiday that I'm shooting for now is what we call the birth of the the twins. This would be Chi-Chi and Lady Fiona Crispin. Happen to be born on the same day. Half a world apart, but they were born on the same day. So that is coming up, and have no fear, I will make a point of embarrassing both of them on that day. You have my word. Ghostbusters? Yeah, it's pretty frightening. Pretty frightening ghost movie, to be sure, Jackson. The second one, I mean, the first one was not terribly disturbing unless you're afraid of marshmallow guys, but yeah, the second one was terrifying. And on that note, I will be retiring to the bedroom, people, in hopes that I actually get some sleep. You know, I'm tempted to just walk away and leave this running, but so that you guys could talk. But I have a feeling that YouTube would lose their sense of humor about that if they ever saw that. They do have, they would lose their sense of humor about that. But thank you, everybody, for joining me on this feed. Thank you for sending in your goodbye letters. They are having such an effect on this boat and on this channel. It really is just, I can't say enough about just how fantastic you people really have taken over this channel, and that has made me like a proud papa. You know what I mean? This is so much bigger and better than I had ever hoped it could be, and for that I thank you. Thanks for hopping on this evening, people. I am going to go now and get some sleep, but tomorrow night we're going to do a real live feed. It'll be more than half an hour, I promise you. Also, do not miss the nighttime videos. That would be the second video of the day, the 5 o'clock. Don't miss any videos, but the second video of the day for a while is going to be the goodbye letters. You know what Mike Hawk said? Thank you for your time, Tommy. You know something, Mike? It's a really nice thing to say. It really is. You know, I feel bad. You know, I had a couple of requests that I go live tonight, and I'm beat. But I never want to not take advantage of being able to get together, because this means the world to me. But Mike, you know what? That's really how often do I go live? Just about every day. For the last 10 days, I would say that I have gone live pretty much every day. Tell you what, Mike, be here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Pacific time. If you're here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Pacific time, I will go live for you. How is that? We will call it the Mike Hawk live feed. I might even put that in the title. How's that? Tomorrow night, people, right here on the boat. So I will see you all tomorrow evening at that time. Thank you so much for making this thing yours. That really is the dream. Thank you so much for making this yours. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. I am on your boat, the lifeboat. I will see you all tomorrow night. Keep those letters coming. Mr. Saigon Cinnamon, really, really beautiful stuff. I love you, my brother. Remember, people, go out there and save somebody, and no matter what you do, never, never quit quitting. Good night, all.